I let my guard down, and evil slipped in. Well, that's not going to happen again. Because the battle is coming. And unless we're prepared, that darkness will spew forth with the reek of a sewer, drowning us in its corruption. We will choke on it, gag on it, and then the black pit of hell will wait us all.
would you mind introducing yourself for the mic?
Yeah, this is Shawn from Mitochondrion.
And right now we are standing on the corner of Clay Street and Manhattan Ave, just around the corner from Saint Vitus, where you guys just played a pretty awesome show. And this is part of your East Coast tour. Is that right?
That's correct.
So let's talk about how you ended up here. Why the East Coast tour leading up to Maryland Death Fest?
Well, we've been doing this for about almost 13 years now, and we have yet to come do any Eastern dates in the USA, and it's been a long time coming. We were supposed to play Maryland Death Fest 2 years ago, but the Gestapo border guards figured that it was we didn't have the right paperwork. Anyway, long story short, we didn't make it. It was a big disappointment, and we took it to heart. So it was a major goal, a very strong personal and band goal to get back over here and redeem ourselves. Now, to do just one date that we wanted to just make it worthwhile. We've come this far, we've taken this long, so let's enjoy ourselves. Let's meet some new people, and let's play in some places we've never played before. So it's kind of the end of a major cycle that all this led up to. And with this tour and this appearance at the festival, it is the official closing of a very profound, disturbed, soul-destroying cycle, and we can then, burn everything to the ground and start anew. So that would...
Excellent. And speaking of places that you've never played before, this is your first time playing New York, right?
That's correct.
You can speak if you want. It's not like that formal.
I don't like Shawn as a person.
Yeah, this Luke from Blood and Sun. He's
nice to meet you, Luke from Blood and
an
Sun.
enemy of Mitochondrion.
But yeah, this is your first time playing New York and your first time playing St. Vitus.
Yeah, that's correct.
How'd you think it went?
Great. St. Vitus is to us, it's an iconic location. It's a place that you hear of, and you hear of these incredible shows and these legendary events that go on there. To actually be a part of one is fantastic. When we walked into the venue tonight and saw that very memorable skull sigil on the wall, it was we knew that we had finally come to what we wanted to see, and it was nice to be a part of that legacy.
Did you see the King Diamond mannequin by the bar?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we walked in and they were playing Flower Traveling Band, and they had a King Diamond mannequin, inverted crosses, obviously stolen articles from some church. We knew we were in the right place.
How often do you guys get to play live?
We try to not play live very often. Make it every time. It's a very intense event that we spend a lot of time preparing for, both physically, spiritually, musically, everything. Everything goes into this, and at the end we're very taxed, and it's certainly a mind. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's a mind-altering experience." We go into a different mode of thinking, but it's very true. Me speaking right now and me upon that stage are two very different people. The mundane me speaking now is it can't properly translate that feeling. So,
would you say you guys have personas when you play live?
I wouldn't say it's personas. I think it's all part of one personality. It's all just unifying the different aspects. As of now, I'm involved with a lot of different kinds of art forms, music forms, and it's all part of one thing. This extreme metal is one aspect of a greater whole. So I wouldn't call it a persona. I would call it an aspect of the self.
And not only did you play with Mitochondrion, you also played with Auroch.
Yeah, that's correct. We're on tour together.
Yeah. Is that hard, playing two sets in the same night?
It's quite taxing. We have already done this. We did this for 2 weeks in Europe, and it was a test run to see if we could do it. And we came out. It's something like anything you train yourself for, and you get used to it as you do it. The bands are very different sonically, but we're all kind of unified together. And at this point, the bands have become kind of again like similar aspects of the same thing. So it's all one giant egregore that's going into this musical, personal, spiritual force that we put into this music and into the art that we do. So at this point, Auroch is one aspect, Mitochondrion is one aspect, other projects are another aspect of that.
Would you say that they're two sides of the same split 7-inch?
Yeah, well, literally they are. Yeah. And that's coming next month, I believe. We're a little bit late for this tour, but it's coming. Yeah.
So let's talk about that, In Krona an Hour, which is a new Mitochondrion song and a new Auroch song, right?
Yes. Thematically similar. This was to prove the strength and the bond between those two projects. I mean, literally, I'm in both projects. Sebastian's in both projects. On both songs, Nick in Mitochondrion sang on both songs. Obviously, he played guitar and wrote the majority of the Mitochondrion song. But it was something that we wanted to do as a kind of collective force. And that's why we not only kept the same lyrics for both songs, both bands just interpreting them separately, but trying to reimagine the split as it kind of is. It's gone are the days of a split being two separate releases pasted together and released, separate artwork, separate names. Like we don't like doing that. We tried to put a new spin on it and make it more interesting for people, and to make it an interesting endeavor for people who actually, seek to understand.
guys played a few new Mitochondrion songs tonight, and what is the status of the new material?
All written. The album is written musically. Most of the lyrics are underway. I spent, no joke, almost 3 years crafting the themes for this record. A lot of it's very personal, but reimagined through several layers of allegory and symbolism and literal allegory in the form of a narrative. And you'll see what it's become, a ridiculous monster of a headache, but it's taken a life of its own. And at this point, we're finally in a place where we can properly attack this material. Right now, it's about 1/4 complete. There's still lots of work to do, though. Yeah. So that was a nice sample of what's complete.
Yeah, the new material sounded great. I mean, how would you compare Mitochondrion 2016 from like the Mitochondrion that released your first demo?
Night and day. Absolutely night and day. The first demo, if we go that far back, this is talking 2005, so this is almost 11 years ago. I hadn't touched a guitar at that point. I was, we were very young. That would have made me 11 years ago, so I think it was released when I was 20, but the majority of that material was written when I was, 17, 18, 19, extremely naive and unfocused. So just hell-bent on creating something destructive and, merciless, as I knew it then, which was to just create some form of extreme death metal. And by just doing that was satisfying enough. But, as things develop, you always seek more. You want to create more and put new meaning into it it becomes an extension of yourself. So it makes sense that at that point the music was very naive and undeveloped.
Was it a conscious choice to progress and evolve musically?
It's just something that happens. As this is at this point when I've been in a band since I was 17, so the majority of my adult life, it takes on whatever I take on, whatever I evolve into, it evolves into. I like to see that as just, like I said earlier, an extension of the self. So anything that I assume into my subconscious mind, conscious mind, whatever it may be, spiritual life, it then is jettisoned back into the project itself. So,
seeing the progression from your early years to now, do you have an inkling as to what we can expect from Mitochondrion in like 4 or 5 years?
4 or 5 years, again, we'll probably start the next phase of our existence based on this next record. We have a couple surprises in store, nothing too dramatically different. After all, it still is within the scope of extreme and disgusting death metal, black metal, and whatever you want to call it. But we're trying to shatter those boundaries as much as we can. The scene, I guess you can call it, of this kind of music, of what, I don't know what you call this, technical, swirly, awful, depraved death metal.
That's actually what my question was going to be to you. Like, how do you describe
exactly this thing that kind of started with, Portal, Rites of the Gringalade, Immolation, and then took the form of, Mitochondrion, Antediluvian, and so on and so forth, is now so swollen with bands, a lot of which aren't really contributing very much. Others of which are pushing this beyond anything that I can imagine. So when I listen to those young bands, it really is, you need to step up your game. Not really just step up the game, but you need to create something more interesting. You need to take this in an interesting direction. You can't just rehash the same formula. It doesn't work that way, or you can. Ostensibly you can do whatever you want. You can keep recreating the formula, and someone's going to listen to it and enjoy it. But it's not personally satisfying to do that. I'd like to create something that's out there and interesting and challenging. And maybe it takes people a while to get, but at least it's something that is personally satisfying, and that's the most important thing.
Speaking of challenging and not getting it at first, I have to say, when I first heard Mitochondrion, I had no idea what I was listening to. And this goes back to, how do you describe what you guys do? It really felt like something that was, this is a weird comparison, but a friend of mine who's much older recommended John Coltrane's The Ascension. And, every time I listen to it, halfway through I get lost. And then, starting over again, it's Mitochondrion very much feels like that. It feels like there's a lot going on at the same time, and you're never quite going to get it all in one sitting. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, very fair. the material that's been released was so overly, wrought and, toiled over and almost to the brink of, losing a grip on reality. So it's satisfying to hear that. It's actually really nice. And it's nice to hear when people approach me and tell us, oh, I listened to the record and I discovered something new, and I've been listening to this record for a couple years now. That's great. I love hearing that, because it gives you something you want to listen to again. Of course, it's maybe not as gratifying the first listen, and maybe it's completely perplexing, and perhaps you even don't want to listen to it again for a long time. But the staying power and the endurance of that is great, and that makes me very pleased to hear.
What's your writing process like? Because it sounds like you guys are very deliberate and almost like you map everything out, you plan everything out before you start.
It's pretty methodical. These days, this new record the majority of it has been written by Nick, musically. I've contributed one song and, portions of other songs. However, this time the lyrics are completely within my control. So he's dictating the sonic direction, and I'm dictating the thematic direction. This is a new thing for us. In the past, we've just both written like a band, like a normal band would do, and just write riffs, bring riffs to the table, and put them together. Maybe bring a whole song. But it's like that's creating the skeleton of a song. The extras, the strange things that are going on. That's the results of many months of toiling over of songs in our own kind of studio, which is nice because we have all the equipment to record our own records. So far, we've done all our own recordings, and you get the luxury to put your all into it and really fine tune it exactly how you please. So it's going to be interesting to see. We like everything. You don't want to repeat your formula, just you don't want to repeat your music. By breaking the mold, something new will emerge. So we're going to experiment with working with a studio this time around on some aspects. But we're still going to add our final finishing touches to it, which is where the real strange, bizarre things occur, and that's where you get the chance to really dive into your subconscious mind and see what exists and see what comes out. Yeah.
One aspect of your music that I never quite got listening to it through headphones as opposed to seeing you guys live is the way you divide up the vocals and have sometimes 3 vocals going on at the same time. Mm-hmm. How do you portion that out? How do you decide who sings what?
Well, on the albums, it's very much just something that we take spontaneous inspiration. Sometimes it's just something that comes out of the moment. Sometimes it's deliberate. The more chorus-based or anthemic moments, those are the ones that are planned out. But sometimes things just happen, and that's where, a lot of times when you're writing and you're recording, you'll go back and tinker your approach to it and fix the way you perform something live. And for a long time, it was Nick and myself were doing dual vocals, and we actually didn't have a fourth member. It was for live. We lost our original bassist, and at that point we're like, you know what, we're just going to go on as a 3-piece for now, and that was a conscious decision, and until we find the absolute perfect match. And then since we brought Sebastian into the band, it's he's an extension of the band as it was. It was a perfect match. So at this point, it's to live, we want to create the most intense, physically imposing thing that we can, and by having the dynamics of all 3 vocals, it gives us that ability. So we don't really deliberate over it too much. Sometimes it's comes out of moments that he's familiar with, as also previously being a fan of the band, that he's like, I'm going to join and do that part with you guys because it'll And sometimes it's just something that comes out of the rehearsal room, but it gives us another tool in the arsenal to really present the strength and the chaos that we want to really embody.
Going back to something you said a little while ago with regards to new bands who are coming up, playing this style, but maybe following a little bit too much in the footsteps of bands like Gorguts, Ulcerate, bands who've done this before.
Yeah.
Do you feel with Mitochondrion, with the new material that you're writing, that you're throwing down the gauntlet?
It would be nice if that's what happened. At this point, we're writing with zero regard for what we think people want to hear. We know what we like to hear. We know what we want to create, but we're not going to limit ourselves in any way, genre-wise or otherwise, because by doing that, you fall into the trappings of then writing to this formula that I said that appreciate breaking as much as possible. So yes, let's say that. Let's put it on record now, and we'll see what happens. The fact is, like I said, we have some interesting things in the works, and we really would like to do something unique and not just fall into this this ghettoized genre trapping that is what it is. But like we said, no disrespect to any of these bands putting out quality, powerful, expansive material. It's just when it comes to what we're doing, we like to do what we like to do. So we'll see what that is. A lot of it is based on what we're into at the moment. A lot of it is based on what we're into from years past. I feel like personally, metal-wise, I'm regressing every year, and all I want to listen to is Covenant by Morbid Angel and Black Thrash from Australia. That's it. And so when people are like, "Oh, have you heard so-and-so from somewhere?" Quite often I say, "No, I haven't." I mean, I like to keep up to date with new and interesting bands, but with what's going on in this specific niche, sometimes I fall out of the loop.
What Black Thrash from Australia do you like?
No, fuck. That's
I'm only asking because I've got a recommendation.
No, yeah, and I'll take it because I'm loving that sound more and more these days. But that goes all the way back to my teenage years. I love Destroyer 666 and Abominator and Destructor and everything from Gospel of the Horns to the old stuff, Bestial Warlust, all that stuff. That's something that I grew up with, and it's always going to be an important sound to me because it's just absolute disregard for anything external to what was going on in their specific world, and that's so great to me because now I can see it from a different angle, and I'm not trying to pontificate or intellectualize this in any way, but it's just young guys who just don't give a fuck about anything else, and they're just creating the most violent music they can create. Yeah, but recently, it's Nocturnal Graves' last full length.
Okay.
Yeah, that from the Bloodline of Cain is so savage. I mean that's an often I go to that one. And we're playing with them later on this tour, so I'm really excited.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Maybe about 8 months ago, I saw a band from, I believe they're from Sydney, called Bastardizer.
Okay.
They came to KL, and they do kind of an early Bathory kind of thing.
Okay.
If you're into that, yeah.
Cool.
Check them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Will do.
They have a Bandcamp page. So MDF is coming up. You'll
Yes.
be playing on Friday, Saturday.
Both. No, Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, Auroch is playing on the Saturday, Mitochondrion's playing on the Sunday, and I'm so relieved that we're not playing the same day. Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be, both shows are pretty unreal. I think Mystifier is involved with one of them, which is, again, outrageous and unbelievable. And, this is a band I've loved for, forever, since my younger years when I was a black metal skinhead wannabe, terrorizing Ross Bay Cemetery in Victoria. What's
the statute of limitations on that?
Oh, let's not get into that. And then everything else, and then just to be a part of this event where there's so many bands playing that half the time people you have to tell me who's playing. I'm like, really? They are? Okay, interesting. I guess I'll take a look. But again, some Aussies I'm really looking forward to seeing. Of course, Nocturnal Graves, but also Denouncement Pyre, whose new record is fucking incredible. So I'm really happy to see them as well. But yeah, I'm super excited to play.
Is there anything else you're looking forward to for MDF?
I was looking forward to Destroyer 666, but apparently they're not playing, and someone just told me that, so I'm a little upset. What? There's
it's the MDF curse. It's like whoever you're looking forward to the most will drop off.
Exactly. And Svarty Dowdy dropped off as well. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not pronouncing that one letter properly. But I guess their other new death metal band replaced them. They're called Shrine with a Z or a Z, and yeah, they sound great. They sound pretty insane. So it'll be cool to see them. And then just kind of enjoy the ambience of it all, because I've only heard things. I've never been to something like this. So it's the closest thing that we've done. We played Killtown Deathfest in Denmark a couple of years ago, their last one, and that was surreal. So to be a part of something like this is pretty amazing. Yeah.
So we're finishing up. What will the next year look like for Mitochondrion and Auroch?
Yeah, when this tour is done, we're going back we're going back home, and we're not playing another live gig until this record is finished. We've committed to it. We have been, distracted by not just musical stuff, but band stuff. I perform in other musical projects, so those got in the way. Not in the way, but those took up time, and personal stuff takes up time. Careers, whatnot. Normal life. We have real lives. Obviously, we can't make a living off of doing music. This is just our passions and reason for living. God forbid you make a fucking cent off of it. But so yes, we're going home. We're going to finish the record in its entirety. Auroch is going to put the finishing touches on the third record, which we just tracked completely. Send it off for mixing. Get that finished up, and we'll see where things go from there. I'm excited to get some new material out. It's been a long time. It's been over 5 years, so we need to get this finished.
Do you have a timeline for the releases, or just whenever it's finished?
It's whenever it's finished. I don't like to obviously, we don't like to rush anything. But it's finally the right time to work on this material. It's all there, and it's just waiting. It's waiting to take shape. It wants to take shape. So we're listening, and we're gonna follow through with that as soon as possible.
So, as we talked about a little bit before, based in Southeast Asia, I'm based in Malaysia.
Right.
How do we get Mitochondrion to Malaysia?
When this album is done, I mean, there's no limits. We wanna touch everything we can. We've discussed the possibilities of playing in India. We have some good contacts over there. That was something that we would like to try to pursue. So if that happens, then I'm sure it's not too much further to go one more flight.
Excellent.
So I mean, I would love to. All I've heard about the scene there is just full of absolute maniacs who are starving for any kind of metal. So
it's going to be insane, dude.
Yeah,
it's going to be insane.
I hope there's madmen hanging from the rafters, and we burn the place to the ground. So we're coming one day. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe not next year, but we'll try. We'll definitely try. Nothing is off limits.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Can I ask, are you cold right now? Because this is like winter for me.
Oh no,
You're
no.
Canadian,
I'm Canadian. I'm also my blood runs very cold, so I actually really appreciate that we're coming here. All I was told it was going to be a muggy mess. So the fact that it's nice and cool and rainy, it just feels like home. Because I'm in Vancouver, and it's if you've heard of how much it rains in Seattle, it's the same kind of thing. And, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shawn.
Hey, my pleasure.
Have a good tour. I think that was a wedding.
Yeah, there's also a wedding down the street. This is
This is the happening neighborhood.
welcome to New York. Holy shit.